Hey, happy Friday to you. I'm Eric, and you're watching Eric's Crypto Corner. I'm a tax accountant with over 17 years' experience in that industry, and I've been in the crypto space for about 5 years, buying, selling crypto, GPU, ASIC mining, and also doing a little AI rentals. Let's go ahead and start today's video. All right, so a couple videos ago, I had made a salad video. It was all about salad, AI, and the rentals. We were renting out a couple of GPUs on our rigs downstairs in my little corner of the house, and it wasn't great. I had kind of gone over the history of how salad had been used for the last 16 months, how I've been using salad for the last 16 months, how it really was awesome. Like summer of 2024 started slowing down kind of in that winterish 2025. And I got to the point where I just sold quite a few of my GPUs. I had at 1.5. I think I had six salad rigs going downstairs, and I consolidated down to two. So I had a 4070 Ti Super, three 4070s. I had a 3060 and a 4060 Ti. And now I'm down to just the 4070 Ti Super and a 4070. I do have a 3060 as well that I kind of tinker with here and there. But those are the two main rigs. So I wanted to see how things were looking, and it's looking a lot better in October or Saladtober. Not sure about that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the spreadsheet that I've been tracking, see how things are going. And we can also looking at the salad dashboard too, okay? All right, looking at the spreadsheet here, I believe the last video I had done really just covered up until like mid-end September here. So really, let's take a look and see, what's been going on since then. You can see here, not a whole lot going on at the end of September. Even beginning of October, not really a whole lot. I only had really one day. What do we make here? A whopping 61 cents. I mean, holy moly, after power. That's what we made that day. So you can see a lot of not going on there. But Salad did send out a email about their customers, that they had really picked up a bunch of customers. And from my understanding, my recollection of that email is that a lot of these customers had committed to kind of a 2 or 3 month contract, and they were like all prepaid and everything. So they had sent out an email to people on their platform saying, hey, if you've got like a 40 series card, the 4060 Ti 16 gig and above, probably a 5070, I would think, and above, and even 3090s, you're probably going to get some jobs. And sure enough, we start seeing the 4070 Ti Super here really start picking up. Kind of been pretty regularly making about $2 a day. Pretty regularly for darn near over 2 weeks now. And I'd made the decision to get rid of the 3060 and not get rid of it. I just took it off that rig. And then I put my 4070 back on that rig. And you can see the 4070 for the most part is making about, I don't know, what's the average here? About $1.30, per day. You can see it kind of was slowly trickling up, but then, I've been landing most of these days are getting these $1.50, jobs. Now, you can see the profits over here are not, what is this here? Since we started really making some money here, and by money, I'm talking about my profits in the last 2 weeks have been $24.07, after power. This doesn't include internet. I don't really include that in there just because I'd have the internet anyway. And I have other things going on at home other than this particular situation, with a Bitcoin node and other things. So I don't really count that as an expense. I'd have it anyway. It's just kind of a normal thing. But it doesn't include the cost of the equipment, obviously. And each one of these rigs, is easily, $1,000. They're $1,000, $2,000 per rig. I bought everything new. You could probably cut that number down by 25%, maybe, 35% if you buy this stuff used. Maybe even more if you're lucky, and find something, I don't do that way. So you can see that here we've got a whopping $24 profit. And when I scroll down, so you can see that the profits from when I started salad here were about, $100 a month. And then it started slowing down, at the end of 2024. And then in March of 2025 was the first month that I really had losses. And you can see, that's when I made the decision to really start, getting away from salad. So, these next couple months, not really much going on. And in June, I believe that was the month that I had a rogue. Yeah, right here. I had a rogue, extremely high paying job, like $4 a day almost. And you can catch some of those once in a while. So June was a nice month at $86. July, August, not terrible. It was okay. September, we can see I just left it running. I made a whopping dollar, in September for all my effort. So October, it's not great. I can't say it's been great because the first half of the month was pretty terrible. But, if things keep going the way that salad, says they should keep going, I'm hoping to kind of double that next month and maybe put $40 in my pocket for November. Okay, and I just wanted to also show you the salad, platform website here. You can see that the last 7 days, $20. Now, keep in mind, one thing I want to show down here is that, as I mentioned in the last video, this little yellow one down here that's made, I don't know, a few bucks over the last month. This is a little 3060 that I have running at a friend's place. I just kind of got it up and running for him for testing purposes and stuff like that. But, last 7 days, $20 is what we've earned. That's pretty close to what I would figure because the last 7 days have been very, very good. The last 30 days, the last month is $60, most of which, is not including this 3060 and this, I think that's yellow. I'm colorblind, so you kind of have to bear with me, but I think this is purple and I don't know, maybe a light blue or something, or maybe even I don't know what that is. You tell me in the comments. Anyways, so salad has been doing a little bit better. And one thing I did want to show you, because I'm sure, it's important to know, is when you click on the little earn, your summary gives you, the last 24 hours, the last 30 days, 7 days, whatever. But when you click on the earn button up here and you go to the Salad Network Monitor, it does tell you, what graphics cards are in demand. And you can see right at the top here, the 4070 Ti Super is in demand, and it tells you what the recommended specs are. I don't believe in the 32 gig RAM thing. I definitely have at least 64 on here if you want to get the jobs. Because keep in mind, you're competing with other people for these jobs. And if the client says, well, I want 64 gig of RAM and you only have 32, you're not going to get the job. And for as cheap as RAM is and the multi-uses that we have with them, and even you can resell RAM for almost as much as you bought it. So it's not like it's a big, humongous investment there. And then you can see over here that the average earnings over on the right-hand side. So, what you need to do is really just look at, what card you have, and you can see that the 4090s are big, the 5090s are big, 3090s are big. And then you can kind of see, now we start dipping into the lower low demand, the 3070s, 3080s, 2080s, 3070s, 3060s, even a pretty low demand, even though the one that we saw in my graph has occasionally been hitting. But really, and even the 4060 Ti, wow, that one's really gone off the rails. But really, any of these upper 4070, 50 series, and even the 3090 cards, are going to get you jobs. So if you have a computer sitting around idle, and you want to make a few bucks, from salad, definitely consider that as an option. All right, to sum up here, pretty much, what we've got is salad has acquired a lot of new customers, and those customers are supposedly going to be on their platform, for at least a few months. So if you've got a GPU sitting around and a decent amount of RAM, you could probably be making a few bucks on the side if you're not using your computer, whether you're sleeping, at work, at school, whatever you're doing. And the one thing that I did want to mention too is that my electric rate is 15 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, if your electric rate is really, really low, I know some people in the United States, like if Red Panda and some of these other YouTubers, they can get their power like under a dime, per kilowatt hour, which really makes your profits go way up because you don't have as much cost. But if you're in a state or out of the country, in another country, not the United States, and maybe your power's at 20 cents a kilowatt hour, 30 or 40 cents a kilowatt hour, well, you got to do the math on that stuff and figure out, well, geez, if my power outweighs, my ability to earn on Salad or any other AI platform, whether it's Octaspace or Chlor AI or Vast AI or any of these other platforms, you just got to do the math and figure out, is this for me or is it not? One thing I will tell you is that I don't really recommend buying a ton of hardware in this. I've seen people on YouTube that have spent $100,000 on equipment just for Salad, and then when all the jobs go dry, they've got, it just sits there. You're just collecting dust. So if you want to get into something like this, normally is use what you got first. And if you decide, well, maybe I can upgrade my current, setup and get a new graphics card, or maybe you want to upgrade your RAM and things like that. One other thing I'd say is that you do want to have a 1 terabyte hard drive too. Minimum is 500 gig, but don't waste your time. Get the 1 terabyte. I bought a couple of like 500 gigs in the beginning, and then it just wasn't enough. So now I had to sell those drives and take an L on those. So hopefully this video was helpful so you can kind of get an update of how Salad's been going for me personally. And if it's been going great for you, if you've got some nicer graphics cards than I do, you're probably making more than I am and having jobs run better than I do. Okay, so thanks for stopping by today. I appreciate you spending some time with me this morning. If you like the video, click the like button. If you want to share it, I'd appreciate it just so people know how Salad's been doing as of late. As usual, this is not financial advice. This is educational and entertainment purposes only. So until next time, peace.